Yes, folks, it's been a while. It's salty takeaways and bitter ends, and safe to say that there's some that have to do with the blank housery that was started from Josie Altador, and we'll get into that as well. But first and foremost, John here, Jarrett there. Opening statement, Jarrett Smith.
Where do you start?
Hey, we got all the tape. We got all the tape in the world. It's all you.
Man, you know what? First off, that's 3 points on the road in a place you've never won before. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy that. Embrace it, and carry that all the way through. That was a playoff atmosphere. I guess we can call it a playoff atmosphere. Hell, man, I don't know. It was tense, like the playoffs are going to be. But we know, and I know this team's had turnover. We know a lot of these guys are battle tested, whether in the United States or otherwise. I ain't worried about that. That ref can't do another MLS game. You can't let him do another MLS game. Reminds me. I'm reminded of the line from Whiplash, where he loses the music folder. He's like, I gave it to him to hold. Well, why'd you give it to him? If you give a monkey a calculator, he's going to try and turn the TV on with it. If you give a ref who's not built to handle these games a game like that, you'll make a mess of it. That's what happened. And it's not just Josie, taking the ball like that. Because I've seen that happen before. But I've also seen that happen before in games don't escalate beyond that. It's Aro. It's Richie Larea, who is really good player on this continent. One of the best young players on this continent. Let's get that out of the way right now. Like, Richie Larea is stupid good, and I think he can be better, and I think he'll go to Europe. Richie Larea was he was like Walker or Texas Ranger, all hopped up on Mountain Dew, man. That was unacceptable at the end.
Do you feel it's at times when you look at Richie Larea's game, it feels like he has to degrade for whatever reason. He feels like he has to go least common denominator on something.
Oh, it's a hell of a game, man, and it's a great win. I will, you know what? I will give you Nick Alifi send his take in via message. My telegraph is going off, so I will I'll get that set up. My take: stop. An expensive win, stop. But wins like this are crucial. Stop. Toronto tried shithousery and got slapped. Stop. Oh, we're in safe harbor hours. Whatever.
Yeah.
Great that this happened. So Pro realizes that they need to stop the bullshit and protect playmakers. Stop. Spoiler alert: they won't.
No,
they won't protect anybody. Mm-hmm. Guys will get suspended for this. I believe we saw Richie Larea shoving a staff member in the tunnel.
Yeah.
But I don't know if there was anything before that. I don't know if somebody shoved him or if he started or if he was retaliating.
But yeah, I don't know if it was a staff member or if it was a member of the OPP.
It's oh man, Dudley Do-Right down there just like wrecking a house would be amazing. So I don't want to sit here and say Richie Larea is down there starting scuffles because I didn't see how it started.
Right.
But I will say that from what we saw, it was an awful look for Larea.
Mm-hmm. Going through the numbers quickly before we get into the rest of the match. 54-46 possession for Toronto. Total shots 17-16 for Atlanta United. 9 on target for Atlanta United, 4 for Toronto FC. 6 blocks for TFC, only 1 for Atlanta United. 17 fouls for Toronto FC, 13 for Atlanta United. So 30 were called on the day. Atlanta United in their passing game, 386 of 445 for 87%. Also, it's pretty close for Toronto FC as well. Long balls, Atlanta United, 22 of 42 at 52%. And crosses, 4 for 23 for Toronto on the day, 3 for 8 for Atlanta United. Atlanta United 11 of 16 on the dribbles, possessions lost, 127 to 102 for Toronto. Atlanta United won the duels, pretty much 62 to 38%. Won the aerials 5-2, 18 tackles to 12, 31 clearances for Atlanta United on the match. But let me go back to what we were discussing with Timothy Ford. And it's disappointing that we have to continue to have these conversations. And I know that folks have been letting us know what's on their mind for their salty takeaways. And I know that some of them will be focused on the officials, but Timothy Ford cannot officiate. He cannot be center circle for the remainder of this season. I don't see it. And it's he let the game get out of control. And in a moment, I think it was in the 84th, when Barco is taken down, and he's taken down by Auro. And what you do, since Timothy Ford decided to swallow his whistle for the last 15 minutes before we got into the 9 minutes of added stoppage, you pretty much saw a lot of folks hit the deck. No whistles, no fouls, no nothing. So when Barco hits the deck, George Bello does what you're supposed to do in this case. After possession, you knock the ball out, and you're waiting for the player to recover. And then it starts with Josie Altidore starting an offensive attack instead of what you're supposed to do in this case. And the sporting thing to do is give the ball back to the team that was on offense, let them start their attack again. But Josie Altidore starts this entire cascade by doing something that was completely and totally unsportsmanlike, and it just completely spiraled out of control.
It did, and I'm not going to defend Josie, but I'm going to sound like I am, so I want to preface that. I've seen stuff happen like this that didn't spiral out of control in this way. I think Josie was in the wrong, but I have seen stuff happen like this where it didn't end up in mass confrontation in 9 minutes of stoppage time, and we almost had another bottle service fight in the tunnel in Toronto. God bless him for it. Ford losing control of that game before that moment is what led to all of that. It's the way he called the game so loose and at times inconsistently.
Yeah.
And then after everything happened, it's like he got gun shy. And Toronto figured that out real damn quick and realized we can go in 2 feet if we want to, and nothing's going to happen.
You give Hasetsu the yellow.
Decision, he decided to not call a damn thing.
Yeah, you give Hasetsu the yellow in the 16th for the horse collar with accentuation by the Toronto player at the time, and you're thinking, okay, this may set his window. You've set the early tone with this yellow in the 16th, but it didn't. And then what we see with officials sometimes is they'll work their way in one direction and then feel like they have to overcorrect. And in Timothy Ford's case, the overcorrection was not blowing the whistle short of, looking at AEW Rampage, which is what we got.
Which is what we got at the end. And what I'm happy about is tentatively no reports of injuries. Great. Toronto season is over. I feel like that was made in very salty ways by everybody. Well played. I appreciate all of you dipping into your salt bins. But you want to keep everyone healthy, and Atlanta has to appeal the Barco card. And I don't think it's going to get overturned. Looking at, the snippets of video, he and Aro both like lowering their heads and kind of headbutting each other and bringing their heads together. I don't think it gets overturned, but at this point in the season, you have to do it anyway.
Absolutely.
In my opinion.
You have to defend your player in that case.
Don't be Les Miles taking your timeouts with you, because they don't roll over. Go ahead and use your appeals at this point, because you got New York City coming in, a really unpredictable New York City. But yeah, Timothy Ford had a rough night. Let's move off of that for a second and say that Atlanta, and I know a number of people brought it up, number of fans, number of writers, number of analysts, probably a number of Twitter bots brought it up as that game went on. Toronto on the right side, that is the soft pink underbelly of Toronto, and Barco and Bello attacked it. And I thought George Bello needed a good performance, and he got one tonight.
Yep.
And it was not perfect. There are things he's got to clean up defensively. I'd like him to be more aggressive at times with the ball offensively, but I thought he grew into it. But he needed a performance like that, and you got a good performance from them. You get Luis Araujo scoring. He's kind of scuffs his shot, but it works.
Yeah.
And it's actually much ruder because he scuffs his shot instead of
Mhm.
just like turning it. He kind of chips it. So then you have this keeper flying across the face of goal, trying to come across goal again, and just watching this ball float helplessly over his head. It was honestly funnier
Yes.
than then you defend well. Brad Guzan makes the big save you needed.
Mhm.
And then we've seen Marcelino Moreno do it twice now, where he's dribbling down, cuts across to his, keeps it on his right foot, starts kind of floating to his right, and then cuts it back into the corner to get the second goal to lock it up. He should have gotten one before that.
Yep.
But the bottom line is you got 2 goals. Like goal difference might matter by
Yeah.
the time we're into playoffs. Like goal difference might matter. And you did enough to win. It wasn't perfect. It's the first game back. This franchise has traditionally not been great after long layoffs, but it was it was good enough, man. And on the road in a place you've never won before, you will take good enough, you will pack it in a suitcase, and you will leave without saying another damn word.
Here's your numbers, courtesy of our friends at SofaScore. Everyone punched in the sevens tonight. Brad Guzan in net a 7.9. Miles, Alan Franco, Anton Walk 7.6, 7.9, almost an 8 for Alan Franco tonight, a 7.1 for Anton Walks with the yellow card. Brooks Lennon an even 7. Hasechu, once again, being that quiet force in the midfield at a 7.1. Santi Sosa, great work from Sosa tonight at a 7.3. You mentioned George Bello had a 7.4. Barco at a 7.2. Araujo with a 7.4. Marcelino Moreno with the goal and an 8.3, courtesy of our friends at SofaScore. Looking at Marcelino Moreno's numbers, 4 of successful dribbles in 6 attempts, 4 shots on target. Passing 43 of 48, 90%, 85 touches on the night, 2 key passes, won 13 of 18 duels on the night, and was 1 for 1 on his long balls. So great work from Marcelino Moreno. Let me get into Bello's numbers here. 27 of 30 in accurate passes, 52 touches, so it's 90% for Bello on the night. 1 for 1 on long balls, 1 for 1 on his crosses, 1 for 1 on dribbles, and 4 of 6 on the ground when it came to duels. For him, 3 clearances, a tackle, and a successful dribble pass. So good stuff from Bello. One more that I wanted to get into because Alan Franco punched that 7.9. 6 clearances, 4 blocks, 2 picks, 2 tackles, ground duels, 3 of 5, 1 an aerial duel. So on the night, 4 of 6. And he was 46 of 50. So I'm thinking that Alan Franco might get some votes for Eliminizer of the Week. 46 of 50, 92% passing on 71 touches on the night, 3 of 5 on long balls, and 1 of 2 on successful dribbles passed. So great work from the folks that we're seeing there at the back. And once again, you're seeing, Jarrett, Miles Robinson continuing to just make it look effortless. Not that being that in control is as effortless as he's making it look, but there's a sense of calmness there and really doing well at the back to make sure that he is if he's not an eliminizer, he's definitely a stabilizer back there, once again showing that he is growing.
Because Miles Robinson is the best center back in Major League Soccer. Like, I don't know what else you want at this point. He's one of the best center backs on this continent. And I only qualify that because I don't watch enough Liga MX to definitively say that they're not better center backs in Mexico. For my money, he's the best center back in MLS, best center back in America. And it's just the growth. Like, he had a growth curve.
Yeah.
Forget who it was. Let me go look it up. I'm looking up the LA Galaxy 2016 roster. I'm trying to remember who it was. There was one center back that the Galaxy had that was like my player comp for him. I'm trying to find it. Damn it, I can't remember who it is. They had a defender who it was basically like, that's the guy I think he can be.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he could be a really good MLS defender. No, he's just far and away. He's just far and away better than that, and he is just an absolute blessing. I will also give a shout out, as long as we're going down that route, to I'll give a shout out to basically my Lenny Harris for this team right now,
There you
which
go.
was Franco Ibarra.
Hmm.
Like Ibarra comes in and is just winning balls and does exactly what he was doing before he got hurt. And I think the kid's 19 years old. Like I feel like we forgot about Ibarra because he's been out for so long. So damn good and could be so vital to a midfield that was really racked with injuries. But now you've got him coming back in. Amar Sadic
Hmm.
puts in workman like shifts. Amar Sadic isn't gonna. I don't know if he's gonna ever pump a man of the match performance more than once or twice. That's just not who he is. But he's gonna do workman like he is blue collar for lack of a better term. And I know that comes across sometimes as an insult. I don't mean it for him. He just has that kind of like he's just gonna get his hands dirty and he's gonna be clean on the ball. He's gonna make the plays he has to make. You've got more depth now with Ibarra coming back, and it changes the tenor for me with defending, especially if Santiago Sosa is recapturing some of that early season form. It's great work from the back line, and you don't even get into George Campbell. Didn't even see the field tonight, and George Campbell is looking like one of the most promising center backs in Major League Soccer.
Well, when you have all of this that we're able to see and all of this growth that is there and everyone, and I think that you mentioned Santi Sosa, and I think that, when you are, you're going to hit that point in the season where you bonk. And I think legitimately, and that's a running term where, yeah, for those not familiar with it, it's where you hit that wall, and it's the idea of pushing through that. You push through bonking and you come out the other side, and you understand what it takes for you as an athlete to push through in these situations. I legitimately think that Santi Sosa bonked, and it's all about adjusting from that point to get through all of it to get to where we're seeing him coming out the other side as a professional footballer here for Atlanta United.
It's been so impressive to see him because, yeah, I mean, I guess for me, it's what makes it so impressive is the fact that it seemed like he hit a bit of a ceiling this season, and he pushed through it. And yeah, you can describe it however you want, bonking, whatever you want to call it. It's been really fun to watch, and it's fun to watch his continued growth. Then you get enough from the attack. You get Araujo, you get Barco, especially combining with Bello down the left side,
Mm-hmm.
running rampant. You get Marcelino Moreno, who's inconsistent at moments. Araujo is going to drive people insane because he has those elements of BT Martinez that people didn't like, but that made BT so good when he was on was that ability to be dangerous from distance and suck in defenders. And he has that lack of fear for the long shot that basically tells you, like, hey, this last one missed, but that's okay because this one's going to the back of the net. And yeah, he might hit one out of the stadium. He's also going to hit some world class finishes, and he's going to hit world class balls on crosses, on long shots. Like he's going to give you what he's going to give you. That being said, I know you put out a call for questions. I don't know if you put out a call for questions
I did.
before this got drunk or not.
I did. I legitimately did. And I bet you can guess what the main topic is for a lot of the questions that were put out here. So
how cripplingly drunk this game was?
Well, more specifically, most of them have to do with one particular individual. So here we go. J. Jason Joyner, why are MLS officiating so awful?
No one knows, man, because they haven't had to be better. By the way, the defender I was thinking of for Miles Robinson comps was Jody Van Dam when he was with the Galaxy.
Okay.
Jody Van Dam was a really good center back. I thought and he was a starting level center back on a really good team. And I thought that's what Miles could be. And Miles has just shot past it. Anyway, back to your point, I don't know. I think what frustrates me more than anything is we keep seeing new people in MLS games officiating, and it doesn't get better. It gets worse, in fact.
It speaks to the larger issue that needs to be addressed here, and it's not just the current wave of officials that we have, but how that next wave comes through and is a part of the discussion as well. It's going to be an issue for a while where we're looking at officiating and we're looking for that next wave, and you wonder, about resources. You wonder about individuals. You wonder about interest, especially at the grassroots level, when you sit there and you have, folks who are making $25 a game getting yelled at, and they, decided that it's not worth their time. And so I think that yes, it's an issue in the larger macro sense, or than the micro sense tonight, but in the macro sense as well, for that next wave and how to continue to have more folks who want to be center officials that can be a part of the growth of the sport.
Yeah, and it's important to find that. It's also important for me personally in the idea of it's important to find those guys who are willing to be that. But for the ones that are here, I need you to do your job and do it in a way that's not going to get people hurt.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of brushed up a little close to the Rubicon tonight on that front.
Yep.
And that's where it becomes unacceptable. If you call a bad game, that's going to happen. I worked with a guy who was an umpire in high school and college, and he swore up and down he'd never called a bad game. And I laugh. I don't think I ever called him on it directly. He very much my elder and was very good to me, so I didn't have the heart to tell him I disagreed.
Yeah.
But everyone's gonna make mistakes. That's okay. Do it in a way that's not going to potentially get people hurt, please.
Yes, and Nick also made a point about that we'll get into. It's a part of the timeline as well. Rope says, at pro referees have some of the worst officials, and Toronto are blank hats. And he used symbols to cover up the first part of that word. So, yes, even though this is being recorded in Safe Harbor, Rope's self-edited in that case. Will Secor says he wants at Jarrett_Smith to use a moonshine reference of your choice to describe the 80th through 90th minutes.
It was the kind of drunk where somebody broke all of the rules. This was the kind of drunk where somebody started with a beer and then proceeded to hard liquor and did things in the wrong order, then threw in jello shots and everything, did not hydrate, didn't drink any water, didn't get any Gatorade or liquid IV.
Didn't do any carbs.
And didn't eat any bread, no carbs, nothing to soak up some of that alcohol, and then proceeded to jump in the hot tub. Open them blood vessels up and drain some of the fluids out of your body through sweating and get the blood really pumping. This was that. This was drunk on a number of things and then proceeding to make all of the wrong choices while drunk to make sure that the next day was going to be a very unenjoyable experience for everyone involved.
Nick's comment that was megaphoned by Four Card. Nick, in our timeline in the discussion, said at some point Pro has to protect playmakers. If they keep with this level of inconsistency, chaos like Atlanta, Toronto will happen with regularity.
Yeah, I've said that here. I've said that on the morning show. I've said that on the night show before. And I've tried to make it very clear. I don't mean that just about Barco and Marcelino Moreno. That's players all around the league. That's Alejandro Pozuelo in Toronto. That's all of your skill players. Mm-hmm. You have to protect them, and they're not protecting them at all. Persistent infringement is an illusion.
Yes.
And I don't know if this is the American plucky bullshit that we go through. Well, you got to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and no, you take pride and they didn't go down. Like, I don't know if it's that. But it's not good. It's not good. Like, you're not going to, I think it's going to be harder to get guys to continue to come here beyond the young players. You're getting guys now, and that's great. You're getting guys in the middle of their careers. Zeller Ion coming here. Marcelino Moreno coming here. You're getting guys who are still young and can still improve, but they're not wet behind the ears anymore. If you want to get those guys who are early mid 20s to come here, then you got to start protecting folks. The word's gonna. I'm worried that word would eventually get around of, hey, don't go to MLS
because they don't protect their star players.
Yeah, you're gonna get kicked, and people are gonna get mad at you because you didn't because they think you went down too easily because whatever reason.
Yeah. And to that point, Hudson, the Mile High 17, says, as much as I want Barco in Atlanta, he needs to get out of MLS yesterday at this point.
Yeah, he does. And I love Barco. I wish he would stay forever. especially if we're going to get this version going forward. That being said, yeah, he's going to go to Europe, and man, go ahead and go, because it's just going to be safer for you.
Yeah, well, you want you want a good home for him at the end of the day. And last one in the queue comes from Turner Kirby. Says, I don't know what it will take to get some accountability for officials in sports in this country, but this last week of officiating in all sports has been less than ideal. And that was in quotes.
Yeah, and some of that comes from up top. I mean, like, when you have issues in Major League Soccer, in Major League Baseball, which I'm sure he's referencing as well, NFL, college football, like, you have this issue where officials are protected in a sense that even if there's no consequence to really getting things wrong.
Yeah.
So they're just going to keep doing that and keep getting things wrong. So this is what it is. I mean, there's no consequence to it. So I get better, I guess.
Now, what we are anticipating, actually, let me get into the standings before we get out the door here. So standings up to date, and this is legitimately as we have stopped. I believe all the Eastern Conference action has stopped for your Saturday night. So here's how it currently is. 29 matches played, except for Chicago and New England, who have played 30. Right now, you have New England with their draw tonight against Chicago at 2-2. New England at 66 points, 30 matches played, 18 points clear of Nashville, who have drawn their last 4, goalless draw with DC United on your Saturday. Philadelphia with their 2-2 draw with CF Montreal, 29 matches played, 46 points. Orlando City, 1-0 win over FC Cincinnati at TQL. They are at 45 points. Atlanta United currently is in 5th at 42 points with their 2-0 win. DC United with their draw dropped to 41 points, 29 matches played, 12 wins. CF Montreal is in 7th at 41 points, 11 wins, goal difference of +3. NYCFC, their next match is tomorrow against Red Bulls in the 9,723rd version of the Hudson River Derby this week. So you have 8 versus 9 tomorrow. NYCFC's at 40 points. Red Bulls are at 37. Crew with their big win today. They beat Inter Miami 4-0. Safe to say that Inter Miami is done at 32 points, 5 points back of Columbus, the Crew at 37 points, and they're going to make life difficult for folks for the run in. Chicago, 28 points. Toronto FC's at 25, and FC Cincinnati at 4, 17, and 8. 29 matches played and 20 points. So, Jarrett, as we're anticipating the front office is going to appeal the red card on Ezequiel Barco because in very short order in the midweek, NYCFC comes to town in another big matchup for Atlanta United here in the East. Yeah,
and like I said, I don't get your hopes up back at that getting overturned. I don't think it's going to get overturned. I think it's going to stand. That's what it is. So you're going to have to knuckle down. Hopefully Joseph is back in some capacity. I kind of think you might have been saving that Joseph-shaped bullet for Wednesday night anyway. So we'll see how it we'll see how it shakes out. But all of the Timothy Ford nonsense, Josie Altidore, Auro, red cards nonsense doesn't take away from the fact that Atlanta picks up 3 points in Toronto for the first time in their club's history. And it's 3 points you absolutely had to have. And now you are above the playoff line. So great job, great win. It was weird. It was kind of sketchy there for a minute, but you did the job. And that, I think, is the most important part.
And we will be talking about it on the weekend. We'll be talking about it on Overreaction Monday. So, folks, if you still have overreactions, that's what Monday morning is for at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. until 11, we'll talk about it all. So he's Jarrett. I'm Jon. It was a big 3 points for Atlanta United on the road at BMO. Save the tape, Mike and Jason. Save the tape. Toronto, you're done. For Jarrett, I'm Jon. Play it safe, everybody. Mucha platio.
Mucha platio.